This is apparently on. Let me have a look at the sound. Wait, let's have a look. Boya is on. 1, 2. It says the sound is on. No sound, lad. How do I check this? Let me see if I can sort of get this. Just bear with me. I better write that actually. Bear with me. Working now. Is that good? Is that good? Let's have a look. And I'm not getting any chat from the bloody hell. All right. Okay, it's okay now. Okay, well that's good. All right, well that's at least that. So thank you very much for coming along. It's good to see you again, even though I can't see you. But you can see me and you can hear me, which is the main thing. So who have we got? Okay now, great. Lovely. Okay, so what I am going to be painting, let me just put it around there. What I can't see is the chat, and I really like the chat. So in the software that I'm using, it's not exactly coming out. How do I get it? Let me go into the docs again. Chat. Let's see what happens here. Something went wrong. Something's always going wrong. Yeah. Okay. Look, I'll have to just keep going back and forth between Chrome and this software. So, how are you all? All good? Ivor? Martin? We've no Miles tonight so far, or Project. I call her Project. I know it's a woman, but that's all I know about her is Project, and she's in the States somewhere. So, okay, we're just going to wait for a bit. Just tap into the chat anything that you've got in your mind. I just want to give it a couple of minutes before I start, because it'd be nice if people saw the beginning rather than coming through. Midway through the... I know what I'm going to do. Good, thanks. Well, good. I'm glad that you're good. I'm going to go into YouTube myself as if I'm you, and see if I can sort of get my own live stream, because then I'd be able to see the chat, wouldn't I? How would I do that? Where's my... All right, so there's my videos, my movies, time, watch, help out. My videos. So I've got my phone here. Live. Still live 21, 6 days ago. Oh, I know what. I can't do it because I didn't get it through Gmail. Now live on your channel. Now I should be able to get there. Skip. Excellent. Now I can see the the chats on my phone, which I've sort of put on silent, but I can see the chats, which is a kind of a good thing. That'll help me with the flow of the live stream. My week was it was okay. I started a new term at the art classes, which is kind of almost full. There are a few places left on Thursday, actually, if anyone's interested in coming along. That'd be Thursday mornings, and maybe a place on Wednesday evening. But so we're going to paint landscapes for 5 weeks, different one each time. And what I'm going to do tonight is actually in that sort of vein. Okay, so it's all about using the what we've learned painting from still life and trying to apply it to the outside world, or at least sort of representations. You know, we obviously can't go on plein air painting because we're in a classroom, but we've got to try and apply the live painting method and feeling to try and make the paintings look like you had been there. which is the very important thing in painting, because people get hauled down the route of hyperrealism, or at least realism, by photographs. And the way to actually handle that problem, because it is a problem, because copying photographs can make for very dull paintings. Photographs might look good, but they don't look good when they become a painting. So, is to have a concept at the beginning of your painting. So you set the agenda, and you don't let the photograph bully you. So, for example, you can say, well, I want to tell a story about the heat of the situation, because I'm going to be painting an Aegean scene here, and so it's kind of about summer and heat, and you know that aroma that you get as soon as you step off the plane at the airport in a hot country. You get there's this aroma and kind of a shimmery kind of heat, you know, so to try and describe that a little bit. Or, you know, I'm going to paint this in all the wrong colours, or I'm going to paint this in straight lines only, or kind of angular blocks, or I'm going to put in only warm colours, or, you know, you're going to juxtapose the warm colours against the cool colours, which is what I'll be doing tonight. There are all sorts of concepts you can do to make the thing your own. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to paint for a start. Okay. Let me go back to this. And so that's the scene I'm going to paint. And you can tell that it's a lovely kind of place to be. It's a beautiful spot on a Greek island, and it is Greece. And there you could probably, in your mind's eye, sort of see the scene yourself. You've probably been somewhere like that, or and that you can hear the crickets, you know, or whatever they're called, cicadas, or whatever they are. And that's what you need to get across in your painting, because copying that painting, I think you'd get a very dull result. Okay, so let me get back to my canvas. Right, okay, so these are the colours I'm going to use. The usual colours, usual suspects: titanium white, cadmium yellow, pale hue, or light hue it says here. For some reason in Griffin it says light hue, but in the Winsor & Newton, this is Winsor & Newton as well, but in the Winton range it says cadmium yellow, pale hue. Okay, permanent rose, cobalt blue, burnt sienna, and I've added dioxazine purple into this. Okay, so those are the colours that I'm going to use. So let's set them out. Let's get that awful thing out of the way. So, and I always put my colours out in the same sort of spot, okay? You can see I've shifted offline in the little lower right cutaway. But that's because I have to do that to come over to the painting to paint. So there's some titanium white, some cadmium yellow, pale hue. Maybe give myself a little bit more. Okay. And I always put them out in the same order, so I know where everything is without sort of having to hunt for it on the palette. Cobalt blue. Give myself a bit of that. I'm going to put the dioxazine purple here. It wouldn't normally be on my palette, but this is the right place for it there, next to the blue. Not sure how much of it I'll use, but I'll use some of it. And I'm not going to have any black in this, but I am going to have burnt sienna. Okay, burnt sienna would be good for the drawing. I don't have to put a wash on this because. Oh God, hang on. I don't have to put a wash on this canvas. Let me see. There's the canvas there. All right, because it's a linen surface and it's already kind of mid-toned. It's a bit light, but I mean it's already. I don't need to put a wash on it. Okay, so brushes. Here I've got a selection here. I don't want to sort of put in too much. Get rid of that one. I'll have that one there, which is about, what, 6 or 8 millimeters. I'll use that one there, which is a round, and I've had it so long that the numbers come off. And I've got a small one. Okay, right, so I think I'll probably use those. I might use a slightly larger brush for some, might use that one there. That one there is for the blocks. Okay, that says, I mean, they're all completely different brands here. This one says it's a 1/4 inch. Actually, that's a better way of describing it, isn't it? Because the numbers vary across the ranges. But this one says a 1/4 inch, so you know what it is. Okay, Pro Arte, that is. Right, let's start out with a drawing. So I've got my solvent there. I'll put out that one. And remember, the concept of my painting is going to be about heat. All right, so a bit of blue into that and make a nice dark for me. So what we got a bit of land there. We're looking down from a cliff towards the sea. So we've got a tree here, tree there, and that is a kind of a roughly, looks like the shape of France, actually. Maybe that's appropriate. And then we've got sort of a bit more coming off here. That could change. I might change that up a little bit. I'm going to put the trunk of this tree here, so there. You've got to imagine that you're standing on this cliff, and while you're standing there, you're being attacked by flies, for example, or, you know, the sun is beating down on your head, and you know that you've got a limited time to paint this. And all sorts of things that can happen to you while you're out painting en plein air. You know, the local drunk comes up to you and starts sort of making a nuisance of himself. That kind of thing. That happens in Dublin. And they're usually actually very, very pleasant and appreciative, actually. But I've had them coming up to me before. And for example, I had some lad, he was only about 25, he had a child with him, and he says to me, will you paint my little girl? And I didn't want to do it, and so I said, oh no, I don't really paint portraits, which is kind of half true, really. But he just said, all of a sudden, he just kind of said, oh please. I still didn't do it though, but he suddenly sounded like a child himself. It was weird. Made me laugh though. People are great. Now, look, and if you have any questions, do write them as I go along. You know, I think that is my drawing there. Okay, there, like that. This is all the vegetation. There's a bit of vegetation coming down there. That'd be nice as well. The problem with painting from photographs is that you can see up there that the composition is more or less set for you, which is not what you would have in reality, is it? You'd have to go sort of try and sort of choose the bit that you wanted to paint. Excuse me, I'm just looking for my my rag, which seems to have disappeared. Where did I put that rag? It's very strange how in this small space I can lose things. I'll use a bit of kitchen towel. Right, which will be fine. Right. And now we've got that boat. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of draw in how I want that boat to be, you know. So, and it would be nice in there. I think it's a nicely arranged photograph. Someone has an eye I got this off Pixabay, by the way. Okay, that's the boat there. We don't need any more than that. That'll be the boat. And it's casting a shadow in the water. More of that later, actually. Right, so that's my composition. So what I'm going to do first, right, is I'm going to block it. And I'm going to block it, or at least I'm going to put in my darks first, okay? So I'm going to get some blue and a bit of burnt sienna. And I'm going to put a lean mix in. You've heard that expression, fat over lean, haven't you? And what it means is that as you go on in the painting, the paint gets neater, I suppose. So there's more oil in it. You know, at the moment I'm mixing up quite a loose mix of paint plus solvent, okay? So, but as you go on in a painting, you put more, the paint is more neat, or you can even add in a bit of oil to help the paint move around a bit if you're so inclined. I tend not to do that. I like just going with neat paint as I go in. So, and this will give me a kind of a sort of a notan, you know, that Japanese word, which is kind of, it's like schematic or something, you know, to make sure your design is the way you want it to be before you go to colour. Let me get some more. Here. There. That's kind of dark up there. Yeah. The other thing you may have done is forget the water that you need to keep yourself hydrated during the painting process. All these things mitigate it against you painting for a long, long time, like you would in a studio. You know, you could go 4 hours in the studio painting, and you know, and still be quite comfortable. And the only reason you stop is that you need a pee or you get hungry or something. You know, because you're motoring along in your head, or at least you're cruising along. So it's like you're taking off when you're starting a painting like this. You know, it's a bit laboured. You know, you need a lot of energy to start the painting off, and then you get up to cruising height and you just cruise. And paintings like that, and you forget about time and things like that. Forget your worries. You know, and the only thing you're concerned about is the painting. I suppose that's the therapeutic part of it, isn't it? People always talk about painting being therapeutic, and to be honest, I've never really found it to be that therapeutic. You know, especially when it doesn't work out properly. But against that kind of way of thinking is that you almost never think that your painting has turned out properly. It's kind of when you get affirmation from other people that it seems to sort of think, oh, you think to yourself, all right, okay, well, maybe it is all right then. I don't know whether any of you feel like that. So that's my scene there. This is all going to be water. So I'm going to mix up. I think I'm going to need to use a bigger brush actually, just for those areas of sea. So I've got this one here. So this is about what they call this one. They call it a 6, you see. What does that tell you? It doesn't tell you anything. Right, so let's mix up a sea colour. So lots of white. Bit of blue. And such a yellow, I think. A bit more blue. Okay. I'm just going to loosen that with a bit of solvent. I'm going to leave this area here because this is obviously a sandy area. As you get closer to the coast and water gets, I suppose, shallower, you can see the sand underneath, and the sand is reflected up through the water. Let me just make it a bit bluer. Okay. So I'm just blocking this in one big sort of tone. Okay. Right about now you're out in the field with your paints, and it took you half an hour to walk here. You probably wish you sort of had chosen somewhere closer, and you know, your family's back at the hotel, so having a nice sort of a nice breakfast and a coffee. I'm painting a lovely picture of the process, aren't I? I'll put you off for life. Now, down there, across here, down there like that, and up there. Need a bit more. So coming along here like that. Okay, got that there. That can come in a wee bit closer. Now, there's that sandy part. So let's mix up a kind of a sandy colour. So white plus yellow plus red plus a touch of blue. Kind of a sandy colour. I'm going to just butt it up against the blue there. I don't really see it anywhere else. Okay, so next thing is the trees again. I'm going to mix up a green. So far so ordinary, I suppose. So let's make up a green, blue, and yellow, and a touch of red to make it a more natural green. A bit more red and a bit more yellow. Okay, a bit of solvent so that to lengthen the paint a little bit. Let's put in some of those around there like that. There. And down in here too. On that kind of land, you can see other trees over there. Trees there. More trees there. Like that, and then you've got this lad here. I'm going to actually darken that, I can put more blue into it. Okay, especially up around here. It is really quite dark. Let me just add in a bit of blue and burnt sienna into that. A bit more blue and a bit of dioxazine purple. Right. So these are the blocks. These are the things that do all the hard work, the heavy lifting in your painting. That's dark there, and that's darker there too. That's all dark in there. Just one big mass along here. Mass it in. Darker again, running out of paint really. While I'm painting this, I've got my head tilted to one side to avoid one of the cameras. I suppose that in a way that kind of emulates the difficulty of painting outside, you know, because you know, it's not such an easy thing just because I'm in my studio. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. And then a bit of vegetation there, and then come over here, right, and then up there like that. Right, I'm going to put in some darks for those tree trunks actually, so blue and red together. Maybe I'll put in a little bit of burnt sienna as well. Just want a dark because there's not very much light getting in there. Put that across there, down there like that, and there like that. And the trees are in the Mediterranean or the Aegean, they get a lot of sun to them, you know, and they're almost kind of tortured the way the trunks grow. Put that there. I think that will be good. Okay, we've got that. And then down here, so I've got a kind of a reddish hue there, and then that's all dark there. Come there like that. Right, I can change my brush now because I've got my blocks in. Okay, go back to the sea. I'm going to have a go at the boat now. That can be, yeah, like that. So the boat is a white boat. So let's grab some white. But white is not white, remember? So grab some white and let's make the sun hit it. We're going to make the warm part. So add a bit of yellow and red into it. And you can really kind of amp that up, the warmth. So it's kind of a very warm pink, okay? That'll be the lit areas of the boat. And the unlit, the boats in shadow will be white. Grab that white, plus red, plus blue. So slightly purpley, violety colour. Because when you want something to look warm, you put something cool next to it. Yeah, I'm just trying to arrive at a colour that I'm happy with. Okay. Right, let's put that in there. So the bits in shadow that I can see, actually I'm going to darken that slightly. I want it to be slightly darker, so a bit more red and yellow into it. Okay. There. And then inside the boat. And then there's the lit parts. There. Hang on, let me just let me do this because I've just shaken the camera. So when I go into the edit, I can that'll alert me to where the edit is, where I need to take that bit out. Light there, light there. Okay, and then another dark part there, and then some genuinely dark parts inside the boat, underneath that canopy. From there. All right, now to go back to the sea, make a new sea colour, blue and white and a little bit of yellow, and then shape this boat. There. There. I've done it again. That's the problem, that the camera's right in front of me. I'll have to remember that. There. Sculpt this part of the boat. There. There. Down there like that. And I want a nice, rich, turquoisey green, as much as I can get, underneath that boat. So I'm going to mix up some yellow and blue into that mix, and I'm going to put it. But what I want to do, I want to move that that shadow, or that's actually on the shore underneath. There's a shadow of the boat there. I actually want one here, as if the water is actually a bit deeper, so the shadow's moved away from the boat a little bit. We'll see how that works. Back to the sea. And I can put some more sea tone there. Up there. I don't want to sort of disturb the dark too much. Once I get these, once I get the blocks in completely, I think then I start to enjoy the painting much more, because then you can sort of start messing around and making it more your own painting. There. Yeah, so let's bring the sea in there a little bit. Okay, that might be enough sea for the moment. I'm going to do a bit of a join between this sea and the sand. So I'll put more yellow into that blue, just give me a kind of a gradation between the sand and the rest of the sea. And that means I can push that around a little bit. And I want my strokes to be seen. I want them to be evident in the painting. And the strokes will get smaller as I go on through the painting. All right, got that lot there. It was on just such a place that I was all sort of happy to be there. I was only about 25 or 26. I went running off into the sea and wearing the watch my mum gave me for my 18th birthday, and ruined it. And I've still got the watch because all the salt water just ruined the thing. And I always sort of wanted to get it fixed, and I never have done. It's a lovely gold watch as well. I'm such a Burke that I went into the water. Right, now that's my scene there. What I want to do now is to start adding some of this heat. Okay, so I'm going to first of all add it in the leaves. So I'm going to mix red into that green that I made. Okay, and then I'm going to start sort of putting it in place, especially off to the right. I think the sun is coming from in front and to the right, off to the right, yeah. Okay. And into this one as well. There's a thinner canopy of of leaves there. And quite soon I'll stop looking at the reference, because it will have served its purpose, which just all it is to provide a kind of a reference to make something up. The painting becomes more important than the reference. You stop looking at the reference, and you make the painting that you want to paint, that will please you most, rather than becoming a creature of this reference, which is demanding you copy it. Sod the reference. Okay. So now I've got some warm areas into those greens around here. I need to amp up that sand a little bit, so I'm going to put more yellow and red into that mix, a bit more white too. Oh, I've done it again. I'm going to have to go through the entire video looking for those times when I whacked the camera. There. There, 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 there. Maybe I should do that there. Okay. Right, so back to the boat, I think. I just want to carve that boat into shape a little. Okay, so there's a little blue part which seems to me to be a kind of a lateral seat in there. Put that in there, and maybe something at the front there as well. I don't know what it is though. And there are a couple of little darks under the canopy. One in there. There's a dark running along there, which is obviously a bit of the boat that's not receiving as much light. A little dab in there. Okay, let's grab my lightest light again. Still some left. Put that across there. Okay, and lose that light there. That's the canopy. And there's more light there. Okay, back to the sea. There are some areas of water which are a redder blue compared to the greener blue, which is kind of more towards us in fact that might be sort of just rocks or something underneath the water. So I'm putting in some strokes just for variation, like that. Shape a few things there. Some strokes along there. I'm not going to be too descriptive. Okay. Okay. And then some even lighter areas of yellowy, greenish under the water parts. You can give it light. Little bits like that. Back to the trees. Right, So I'm now going to start playing, and I'm going to add in a very bluey green, almost just a blue really, in the shadowy areas. And down here, there, little sprays of what looks like very thorny leaves. A couple of years ago when I was in Skopelos, I'm doing the arts residency, I went out painting in the town of Skopelos, the village I suppose, and I was just walking by this tree and I just wasn't minding what I was doing. I had my little sort of, I don't know what you call it, trilby thing, you know, sort of sun hat on, and I whacked straight into a tree with my head, and the thorns went through the hat and into my bloody head, and I was bleeding right down the front of my face. I had to flee to a cafe and wash all the blood off my head. Those bloody things are really, you know, they look all look very pretty until you touch one of the things. They're vicious. The travails of being a painter, eh? So I'm putting some more description in here, just blue, kind of a bluey green, and along here too, just putting in some variations. I'm not really referring to the reference anymore, because I've departed from it. So now I'm just going to paint what I want to paint and try to describe the heat of the day. So it'll be warm and cool colours all the way. Oh, Miles, how you doing? Didn't see you there, just looked into the chat. So we'll go there like that, come around. Yeah. What's that? Here, there's some sprays. You see, it's actually all very easy to do this now because of the blocks. The blocks really are taking up all the work of description. Really, all I'm doing is putting little bits of description into the blocks. Some light green there, maybe across there like that, in there. All you're doing is trying to sort of describe a confusion of vegetation. What that is there. So that's a lot of cools. Let me put in some brighter greens along here, because they'll be important too. See through the trees, so there's down there like that. And now some heat. So I'm going to mix up a red and a yellow to make a very warm red. Okay, and I said that the sun was coming in from the right, so I'm putting in some hot colour. Especially down here, there's quite a bit of something or other there. But you don't have to describe these two exactly, because nobody's really looking at that. They're just getting a feeling from this part of the painting, and they're all looking down at the boat. Yeah, like that. Some red in those trunks. There's rocks down there. I actually hadn't done anything at all. Just put that there as a reminder that there's something going to go in there. Let's put that there like that. Okay, so those are some warm colours. How about some cool colours? How about some blue? How about some dioxazine purple? Actually, let's see what that does for the painting. Mix up a bit of purple with a touch of white. And we can put it in some of the areas in shadow. Especially in those tree trunks. Yeah. Put in some extra branches there. Oh my God, Miles. 2 expert artists. Jeepers, what am I going to do now? They're going to streel me. I'm going to be found out. There we go. There's bits in there to make those look tortured. And down here. Let's mix up some more dioxazine purple. Maybe let's see what it's like as a pure colour in the darker areas. That'd be a bit of fun in there. Because colour temperature is vital in paintings. As one of my students actually said today, when we were painting, he said, did people always think about colour temperature? And we were all sort of thinking back about the old masters' days. They didn't seem to consider that very much at all. It seems to be a thing that sort of emerged around the time of the late 19th century. You know, with the Impressionists and the Post-Impressionists and all that. I mean, I could be wrong there because I'm not fantastic at art history, but I don't know. What do you think? Now, I think a nice couple of oranges would be good. Maybe a bit of burnt sienna in it, and some of those tree trunks as well. Just to give them a bit of sort of, I don't know, detail, or what passes for detail, I suppose. Put in some of the crooks there. Those Mediterranean trees, they twist around. They're all twisted with the heat. I'm starting to sound like I did when I was a kid. We used to, probably like you, we used to make model airplanes all the time. So we used to buy them at this shop called Brayley's in Northfields, just beside Brentford in London. Brayley's was a great shop. We used to get models of almost every week after coming home from mass, you know. Then probably our reward was to get a get a packet of model soldiers, or you know, another plane. We used to make these things all the time. But as I was making them, I used to make the sounds of the airplanes. So, I didn't know I was doing it. That was my brother sort of took the mick out of me. But you get involved, and in fact, that is the state of mind that you would be aiming for while you're doing any art, really, is that sort of childlike status where you're totally involved in what you're doing. I'm just sort of sculpting those branches a little bit. Okay, there we go. In there. Now, something that I like doing is delineation. And I'm going to delineate, I'm going to start off delineating in pure permanent rose, because it's a cold colour. All these colours are cold, apart from that one, apart from the burnt sienna. And the only way to make warm colours with my palette is to mix permanent rose and yellow together in whatever you're making, and then you get your warm colours. Otherwise, everything is cold. So as long as you know that, you can deal with colour temperature in your painting. Obviously, if I had cadmium red on my palette, then that's already warm as a red. You know, some of the darker cadmium yellows, they're all warm. What else would be warm? I always thought of ultramarine as being kind of neutral. I suppose it's a question of how you see these things yourself, but because cobalt blue is definitely cold. Cerulean blue? Interesting. Not sure. I seldom use cerulean blue. It's one of those paints that seems to get everywhere. You can't get it out, like alizarin crimson or phthalocyanine blue. Okay, I'm just attempting to make a difference between the cool sea and the vegetation, which is being superheated in this tropical world that I'm living in as we speak. Okay, let's grab some more. This needs a bit of... I'm using quite a lot of paint now. So. There too. Messing around with that. Just make sure that nobody's actually sort of saying anything. Yes. Okay. Back to the sea. Just for a minute. Back to the sea. Okay. So I want a bluer, kind of a blue sea colour. Just white and cobalt blue, because I want to sort of do some sculpting and add some areas through the trees. So I've got to keep wiping my brush because I don't want the paint to turn to mud on the brush. More white, more blue. Sculpt this little bit down here. Make an extra branch of that. And the same kind of goes up here, because you can see through the tree in places. I also want to deal with this area here. join them up. Shape those branches. There. Back to the green. So as usual, as with any alla prima painting, I'm bouncing around all over the place, bringing the whole painting forward as I want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to add some more light areas here. There. Kind of have an effect around here. I'm going to press the green into that red here because I think it kind of requires it. Just push that up there a little bit there. It's a bit too round. I don't want it to be that sort of I don't know, what would you say, coherent a shape. It should be more abstract than that. So I'm just going to grab some of the water near the edge colour. I'm going to push that into there, into there. Okay, and that needs it in there as well. And maybe let's see what happens if we put some green. I like the multicoloured trunks of the tree, so a bit of green in those as well. Just some touches. And now some blue. I want to get some pure blue and do a bit of cool darks in those shadow areas. Especially around here, actually. I am going off to Scunny Botland tomorrow to see my daughter and also to check out the Scottish colourists. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of their work. One of my students introduced me to them. Really lovely work. They were like late stage impressionists. So they're heavily influenced by the French sort of artists, and they all went off to France and radically changed the way they worked. Really good. I'm so looking forward to it. Hello, Margaret. How are you doing? Good to see you. You're looking well. I say that to everyone. I should stop, shouldn't I? I sound just like the quintessential dad, using the same jokes all the time. My daughters are always sort of throwing their eyes to heaven. That'll do. Right, I just want to see about that boat a little bit more. I want to have a bit of gratuitous what do you call it, strokes in there. Lots of paint. Let me grab some white. Make sure there's plenty of white, bit of red, bit of yellow into it. And I'm trying hard not to bash off that camera again. There. And that can join it. push that there. I think that canopy, in fact, can come around there like that. Push that over there. The shape of that bow is actually slightly different from the way I have it, so I'm going to push that. Oh, I've got a hand rest here, that's good. Pull that down there. And in that case, I might lighten the sea around it. Let's have a look. Oh, that gives the boat a better shape then. And some sort of little dabs around as if the water's catching the light. All of a sudden I want to go swimming. That, in fact, it's shorter. Nobody told me. I'm going to sculpt that in a little bit. Oh, that's better. That does make the boat look, it was looking as if it was going to tip over backwards. Dublin artist in boating tragedy on the Greek islands. It'd be like Ripley all over again. I love the way Monet did those little dabs whenever he painted the water, you know, the Seine at Argenteuil and all that sort of. Up there. There, and the water coming up to the edge there like that. And some strokes around there. I didn't see those rocks there. Honestly, my eyesight is getting worse. Let me have a look. Put a rock there, just for pig iron. We'll put that in there, around there, and get some nice hot rocks. It kind of sounds somehow obscene. I will put that across there like that. As if those rocks are catching the sun as well. And then a little bit of reflection in the water as well. There. And I need the sea, don't I? Just, these are details really. I need the sea, I need to be able to see the sea through the gap underneath the canopy. There, that's better. And maybe a little bit of red in there, because it could be a person. You don't know what is on that boat. Probably the plague. Now let's put a little shadow in over that side. There's a strange sort of red disappeared on that side of the boat. And I just want to put in some let me grab a decent amount of paint. So they're not as straight and defined, but there are ripples in the water there. And last, let's see what I can do around here. Some nice darks, using the dioxazine purple. I needed some more twisted bits of tree. I can sense that there are people screaming at me now. Stop, for God's sake, stop. There we go. So I'm stopping. Wakey, wakey, everybody. Rise and shine. So, that's what I've got. Ooh, here, hang on. That's the, oh, yeah, that's it. See if I can get it sort of straight to camera. I'm not sure how much you can see and how much detail there is. Okay, so that's the painting. And you saw what happened, didn't you? I just I did a drawing. I did the blocks, and all the details just went into the blocks. And then I got myself into a kind of a semi-catatonic state by just putting in details and enjoying it. So that's what it's all about. Let me see. Mags, you've got a bit of catching up to do. Well, don't we all? Oh, the reference photograph, if you're interested in it, is from pixabay.com. And I can't remember the photographer's name, but I think I looked up Greek islands, and you'll probably find it there. Greek islands. Yes, that's definitely what I put in. I'm sure you'll find out. Just a search on Pixabay. What else? Actually, yeah, easy. I suppose I've painted scenes just like this several times, and each time I've kind of moved it towards more towards heat and colour temperature, because I got fed up with the dull results that I was getting initially. And I would go so far even to say that I would paint nearly anything, unless, well, even a snow scene's full of colour, you know. But you know, painting Ireland, and which I will be doing sort of quite a bit of shortly, because there's a festival in Dublin, and there's also a festival coming up in July in Wexford. So I'm going to try these methods there, merely because I want to see whether it works or not, and to not get stupefied by the reality. I'm just trying to simplify things. In fact, I'll be bringing acrylics because I'll be on a motorbike, and I just don't fancy bringing an oil painting on my nice clean motorbike. So it'll hopefully be dry before I have to cart it home. And so that'll bring its own sort of joys and its own problems, I suppose. What else have we got? Emmanuel, so sorry, joined late to see the beautiful process. Head was elsewhere. Yeah, I know, don't I know it? But thank you, and I hope to watch next week. Yes, okay. You're very welcome. I'm glad you turned up. So do pass the word around. It'd be great to have more and more people joining these things. You know, more and more questions. I learn a lot from these things too. Thank you very much, Miles, for that. You said another excellent painting. I'll work out a way of putting some of the chat up on the screen. As you can see, I'm quite far from being an expert in these things so far. Okay, yeah, so there you go. Just be aware of colour temperature. And I learned a lot about colour temperature from illustrators, especially American illustrators, you know, because they've got to amp up the beauty because their work is designed to sell product, I suppose, and they want they want complete and utter, you know, beauty squared in the painting. So they concentrate a lot on colour temperature and these beautiful sort of almost glowing orange clouds and things like that. You know, cool shadows and baking heat on walls and things like that. I love it, and you can learn a lot from them. I can't think. Peter Ferguson is one. He does really great work at that kind of thing, or he used to anyway. It's been many years since I was an illustrator, so I'm kind of out of the loop really. But there are many. Just look them up. So let me see. Right, Mags, thank you, and thank you everybody for turning up, and do watch out for the I don't know what you call it, the edited video, because with the edited video will be a proper scan of the painting, and you'll see it in all its glory, and also I'll be able to sort of take sections out, and you'll be able to see the brushwork, which I think is important to see. So thanks once again for coming along. You know, if you do ever feel like sort of tipping me or something, there is I think there's a thanks button down below the video, and also you can buy me a coffee. That's usually in the link. It'd be more than welcome. It would help me to keep making these videos. But listen, thanks again, and I'll see you next week with the help of God and the following wind. All right, take care of yourselves. Bye.